Dear students, let us start discussing on the 24th June 2016 newspaper. The first article is related to the textile exports from India. Now recently government has announced 6,000 crore plus soaps to the textile sector. So now why such a situation is necessary? Now you know that the textile sector is the second largest employer after agriculture in India. And second thing is, China was the largest exporter of the textiles till date. But today, the China is shifting more towards a high technology sectors. So generally in economic transformation, agriculture, low-end manufacturing, and then a shift to high-end technologies, then services sector. This is how it moves on. If you see the Southeast Asian countries, China, this is what is happening. So now, China is moving from low-end manufacturing to the high-end technology. In this context, wage is increasing, and also the basic costs of electricity, all these are going up. It means the competitive advantage they had with regard to the textile exports is going to come down. So the Vietnam and Bangladesh took this as an opportunity. The Vietnam, because of being a member of Trans-Pacific Partnership, and Bangladesh being classified as least developed country, it has got a major impetus for its textile exports. Now India, how it shall take this advantage? It has to improve the efficiencies of its operations, and also it has to take up the new technology to compete in the growing situation and take up this opportunity to grow as a textile exporter. So in this case, government has announced the 5% duty drawback on the garments. It means that whatever the duty is paid, that will be 5% will be returned back to the manufacturer. And also augmented technology upgradation fund. So with regard to this fund, it is increased to 25%, subsidies increased. Previously it was 15%. Now it was made as 25%. And then if you see, here there are, let's take Arrow or different brands are there. What they do is they outsource the products to the various units. When they outsource, they are expecting that these units shall follow the international labor norms. So that's why India's labor norms are tuned with the ILO's norms. It means that a worker overtime shall not be more than 8 hours per week. According to ILO norms, India also adopted the same. And finally, now the textile industry is a seasonal industry. So a fixed term employment which is given to the seasonal employees is also considered as a permanent employment under this particular sector. It means they all get the social sector benefits. So this is going to improve the status of India as a textile exporter. And coming to hate speech versus free speech. So in this, how we shall fight the online hate speech? So in this case, let us understand this way. The European Union, it has developed certain norms to eliminate all forms of the hate speech. So if you take in 1966, an international convention on elimination of all forms of racial discrimination was adopted by the European Union. So according to the Article 4 of this, the member countries of the EU, they have to criminalize the ideas based on racial superiority or hatred. So in this case, various websites or social media giants, now taking this forward, they have taken up certain steps now to counter the illegal hate speech online. So a kind of a code of conduct has come into existence. So the Facebook, Google, Apple, all these companies came together to formulate this code of conduct. Now, an effective process will be brought in to review various postings made on social media, and any such hate postings will be removed within 24 hours, and users will be well educated about their hate user policy. And finally, the civil society organizations will be given encouragement to flag such notifications which are promoting the hatred and violence. So this is what is the code of conduct which the companies developed for themselves. That is what is necessary for us for the exam. And coming to neighborly dividend. So Indo-Bangladesh relations from 2004-2009, these are the bad days for Indo-Bangladesh relations. From 2009 onwards, there is an improvement. So in this case, when Prime Minister Modi visited Bangladesh, the land boundary agreement was signed, which is a historic step. And after that, there's a lot of goodwill happened, goodwill developed once the maritime boundary is also settled. So in this context, with regard to connectivity, riverine connectivity is established this year. So again, the power, Indian companies such as Reliance, Adani, they are developing various power sectors in the, or power projects within the Bangladesh. The major issue of contention now is trade. And the second one is cross-border insurgency. With regard to trade is concerned, the India exports to close to the $5 billion to Bangladesh through legal routes, and also informal routes it's going to be close to another $5 billion. On the other hand, the Bangladeshi exports to India are around $500 million. So in this case, we have to develop new hearts. The border market points have to be developed so to increase the level of business between India and Bangladesh. And the next is, with regard to the trans-border insurgency, or else the movement of the people or the cattle herders, etc. So it is also a major bone of contention, especially after the Assam elections it got worsened. So in this context, the government has to work to take this particular things forward to uphold the goodwill which has been built in the neighborhood. And the second is the Tapai Mukh Dam. It was built on Teesta River, and India did not duly give the information to Bangladesh, and it has become a major issue. So the government has to share the necessary information. And Teesta River Water Treaty. So Tapai Mukh on Barak River, and Teesta River Water Treaty. So it has though concluded the water is yet to be released to the Bangladesh. As soon as we do this, this may lead to a good, sustenance of our goodwill. And coming to the NSG. Now, why India wants to get into NSG? That's what is the first question. Now, this is what is explored by this article. Now, if you see the series of events, in 2008, an NSG waiver was given to India. So, it is fully unconditional waiver. It means that there are no restrictions. India can do nuclear trade with any of the members of the country. Now there are paragraph 5 and 6 with regard to the NSG agreements. Not to the India. Normally with regard to NSG, the paragraphs 5 and 6 and 7, they are important. They are kind of guidelines. What the paragraph 6 says is, it prohibits the trade in enrichment and reprocessing with the country that did not sign the NPT treaty. So this paragraph 6, it was not amended till date. So it means this paragraph 6 and 7, they are coming in between for enrichment and reprocessing technology to be transferred to India. Now India wants to be a member of NSG to change these particular rules. Now entering India is one thing. So for this consensus is required, and it has to keep all its diplomatic weight behind it. And after that, amending this 6 and 7 paragraphs of the guidelines, that also needs again a consensus approach. All the countries shall agree to it. So in this context, India, if it keeps all its weight behind UN Security Council, that will be more effective rather than running behind the NSG. And on the other hand, now, if you take India is concerned, with regard to the nuclear fuel, the NSG waiver is more than sufficient. The second thing, a fear expressed is this, that, various countries trying to end the NSG waiver to India. If we clearly see, NSG waiver do not have any sunset clause. Sunset clause means automatic closure after a certain period of time. There is no such a clause. It is given a free open thing to India, or free open decision to India, and India need not worry about this. Based on this, with NSG, India has very little to gain by becoming a member. So keeping so much of diplomatic weight behind that is not warranted. And next is, with regard to IAS aspirants, an analysis has come up. Now, if you see English as a language and pursuing the English language, it coincides with the social inequality in India. The social dominance in India is translated into English. So, in this case, English represents the language of the elite. So, most of the IAS aspirants now taking the examination in English medium. It means this, is IAS exam is moving more towards the elitism? So that's what is the question I want to pose. I have no comments on to this. So this is about today's newspaper. Thank you very much. All the best.